Red Circle Chosen One, they have never met anyone like you. Before I say anything else, if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because every single day I am putting out content specifically designed for people like you, people who are awake, people who are aware, and people who are ready to step fully into who they were always meant to be. Welcome, you're exactly where you need to be right now. Now, let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this question for a moment. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like something shifted, like the energy changed, like people noticed you without you saying a single word? And instead of being celebrated for it, instead of being welcomed, you were met with coldness, with strange looks, with people who seemed almost threatened by your presence. If that has ever happened to you, I need you to stay with me through every single second of this video, because what I am about to share with you is going to explain everything. It is going to validate something deep inside of you that you have probably been questioning for years. And by the time we reach the end of this, you are going to understand not just why this happens, but what it means about who you truly are. Here is a fact that most people will never accept about themselves. There are certain human beings walking this earth who carry a frequency, an energy, an essence that is so rare, so powerful, so unlike anything the average person has ever encountered, that it triggers something primal in the people around them, not admiration, not curiosity, fear, and fear, when it lives inside of small people, always disguises itself as jealousy, always dresses itself up as hate, always organizes itself into groups that move quietly, that whisper loudly, that smile to your face and plot in the dark. But here is what those people never counted on. They never counted on the fact that you were built for exactly this. That everything they have thrown at you, every rumor, every cold shoulder, every betrayal, every moment where you sat alone wondering what you did wrong, none of it broke you. None of it dimmed you, and that alone tells you something extraordinary about the kind of soul you carry. You have to understand something about jealousy that nobody really talks about. Jealousy is not about you doing something wrong. Jealousy is the highest form of acknowledgement that someone can give you without opening their mouth. When a group of people decides collectively that they are going to come at you, that they need to talk about you, that they need to undermine you, that they need to make sure others don't see what they see, what they are really saying is this: you have something we cannot touch, cannot copy, and cannot compete with. And that terrifies us. Think about that. Think about the sheer amount of energy it takes for a group of people to focus their attention on one person. These people have lives. They have their own problems, their own insecurities, their own struggles. And yet they choose, day after day, to spend their precious time and energy orbiting around you, talking about you, watching you, reacting to you. You are the center of a solar system you did not even build. They just started revolving around you on their own. That is not weakness, that is power, raw, undeniable, God-given power. Now I want to talk about the concept of being a chosen one, because I know that phrase can sound grandiose. I know some of you might hear it and immediately want to dismiss it, because you've been conditioned your whole life to shrink. You've been told to be humble, to not think too highly of yourself, to stay in your lane. And there is wisdom in humility, real wisdom. But there is a counterfeit version of humility that has been used against you your entire life, a version that says, do not rise, do not shine, do not take up too much space. And that version was never about keeping you grounded. It was about keeping you controllable. Being a chosen one does not mean you are perfect. It does not mean you are better than every person around you in every way. It means that you were specifically designed spiritually, energetically, in your very DNA, to carry something heavy and to carry it without collapsing. It means that the challenges in your life were not random, they were calibrated, they were custom, built for the particular strength that lives inside of you. And the people who have come against you, the jealous group that thought they could take you down, they were part of the curriculum. Not the lesson, the curriculum, because here is the thing about people who come at the chosen one in groups. They never come alone. Have you noticed that? The person who is threatened by you never just quietly removes themselves from your life. They recruit, they campaign, they whisper in ears and plant seeds of doubt. They build alliances out of insecurity and call it loyalty. They create a whole narrative about who you are, and that narrative has nothing to do with you, and everything to do with the parts of themselves they hate the most. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists who ever lived, talked about something called the shadow. The parts of ourselves that we cannot accept, that we deny, that we suppress, those parts do not disappear. They get projected outward onto the people who remind us of them. And sometimes the people who hate you most fiercely, who come at you with the most organized aggression, are people who see in you the light they buried inside themselves years ago. They made peace with their own smallness, and then you showed up, refusing to make that same peace, and something in them cracked. You did not break them, you just reflected something they were not ready to face, and that is not your burden to carry. That is their healing journey, not yours. Now I want to speak to the part of you that has been hurt by all of this, because I know this is not just a philosophical conversation for you. I know there are people watching this right now who have genuinely been through it, who have sat in the wreckage of relationships they thought were real, friendships they thought were solid, communities they thought they belonged to, only to discover that a group of people had been quietly working to undermine them, and the pain of that is real. The grief of that is real. The confusion of asking yourself, what did I do to deserve this? That is real. But I need you to hear this as clearly as you have ever heard anything. What happened to you was not a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of your rarity. The most precious things on this earth are always the most contested. Gold does not get fought over because it is common. Diamonds do not get stolen because they are easy to find. And people like you do not attract enemies because you are weak. They attract them because something about you is invaluable, and the wrong people know it before you do. That group that came against you, they saw your potential before you fully claimed it. They saw what you were capable of before you stepped into it. And rather than being inspired, they chose to be intimidated. Rather than learning from you, they tried to dismantle you. And the fact that you are still here, still standing, still curious enough to be watching this video and looking for deeper understanding, that is your victory. That is your evidence. You are unbreakable. Let me tell you what happens to groups like this. I want you to really pay attention here. There is a spiritual law. Some call it karma, some call it divine justice, some call it the law of cause and effect, but it is consistent across every tradition, every culture, every age of human history. What you send out returns to you. Every act of deliberate destruction, every coordinated attempt to bring down someone who has done nothing to deserve it, that energy does not disappear. It circles, it compounds, and it comes home. You do not have to do anything. You do not have to plan. You do not have to retaliate. You do not have to lower yourself to their frequency for even a single second. Because here is the most beautiful truth about being the chosen one in this kind of situation. Your only job is to keep rising. Every time you grow, every time you heal, Every time you choose peace over reaction and purpose over pain, you are not just winning. You are accelerating the return of everything they sent your way. Your elevation is the justice. Your flourishing is the consequence they never prepared for. And here is what I have seen happen again and again, not just in Scripture, not just in ancient wisdom, but in real life, in modern stories, in the testimonies of people who have walked exactly this road. The group that comes against the chosen one always eventually turns on itself, because groups built on jealousy are not built on anything real. They are not built on love, on shared vision, on genuine connection. They are built on a common enemy, which is you. And when you stop reacting, when you stop being the enemy they need you to be, when you grow so far beyond them that they can no longer reach you, they have nothing left to hold them together. And they fracture. They always fracture. I want you to also understand something about your uniqueness that goes beyond the social dynamics, beyond the jealousy, beyond all of it. You experience the world differently than most people around you. I know you feel it. You feel things more deeply. You see layers in situations that other people miss entirely. You carry an awareness that sometimes feels more like a burden than a gift, because you can see what is coming, you can read the room, you can sense when something is off, and sometimes that sensitivity has been used against you. People have called you too sensitive, too intense, too much, but that sensitivity is your superpower. It is your radar. It is the thing that allows you to navigate at a level that most people cannot even perceive. The ones who told you that you were too much were simply not enough to hold the space for who you are. And that is okay. Not everyone is meant to be in your world. Not everyone has earned the right to be in the inner circle of a chosen one. And part of your journey, a crucial part, is learning to stop giving access to people who have shown you clearly who they are. Discernment is not judgment. Discernment is wisdom applied in real time. And when a group of people comes against you, when they show you through their actions that they cannot honor what you carry, discernment says, bless them from a distance, wish them well in your heart if you can find that grace, and then build the wall, not out of bitterness, out of self-preservation, out of the understanding that your energy is sacred, that your time is finite, and that there are people and purposes in this world that genuinely need what you have, and they deserve to receive it. Whole, not depleted, not wounded, not constantly defended. Here is what I want you to walk away from this video knowing in the deepest part of yourself. You are never meant to be understood by everyone. You were never meant to be loved by everyone. You were never meant to fit seamlessly into every environment you entered. That friction you feel, that sense of never quite belonging in rooms that feel too small for you, that is not a defect. That is direction. That is the universe repeatedly redirecting you away from the places that cannot contain your capacity and toward the spaces, the people, the missions that actually match your magnitude. The jealous group is going down not because you wished it on them, not because you spent energy fighting them, but because the universe has a perfect accounting system, and while they were busy trying to shrink you, you were quietly growing. While they were constructing campaigns against you, you were constructing your future. While they were organizing their smallness, you were being organized by something infinitely larger than any of them could comprehend. This is your time. This is your season. The pressure you have been under, the very pressure they applied, thinking it would crush you, it was actually the exact pressure required to transform you. Coal under pressure becomes diamond. And what they meant for destruction, what they designed to break you, has been working on your behalf this entire time, making you harder, clearer, and exponentially more valuable. So stand up straight, lift your head. You are not the victim in this story, you are the protagonist. You are not the one going down, you are the one going up. And everything that was sent to stop you, every obstacle, every group, every whisper campaign, every betrayal, it all becomes part of the testimony, part of the story that will one day inspire someone else who is sitting exactly where you are sitting right now, feeling exactly what you are feeling, wondering if they are going to make it through. You are going to make it through. You already are making it through.